Hiya, Seamus O'Quill here, and Quill herself. She's probably gonna get excited since I started talking. But sitting here, it's coming up on Imbolc or Saint Brigid's Day, second time ever this year, 2024 in Ireland. They'll be celebrating Saint Brigid's Day as a bank holiday, and I wanted to show off a couple of things. This first video will be about saining bundles. So saining, and please correct my Irish pronunciation if it's off. But that's the best I know for now, and I'm always looking to learn and do better. But is the Irish word or the smudging or smoke cleansing as a practice is an indigenous practice to most people. And they use different things, and it's a real problem when folks of Northern European descent try to engage with the land and with these indigenizing practices by appropriating Native American practice. And appropriation and appreciation, it's a fine line. And I tiptoe around that line, sometimes cross it and need to be corrected. But if you don't already know, white sage is endangered and sacred to many native tribes on Turtle Island, what a lot of folks call North America. And so if you come into possession of it, I don't blame you for using it. But really think about how and why you came into possession of it and the folks that you're dealing with that brought it to you. And especially if it's a gift from native kin, then I receive. But I like to ground into the deeper practice. Noticing like, oh, native folks do this smudging thing, and that really, it seems to help with energy and all these things, and I want that. Guess what? We have it in our culture as Northern European folks. Irish call it saining. And so we often use trees. Juniper is very common. One of the ways that this was practiced is, often on Imbolc or other high holy days for cleansing, they take juniper boughs, kind of green juniper boughs, and throw them on the coals of the fire. So they just kind of smoke up and billow through the house. They'd open all the doors and windows and just let the smoke do its thing. They didn't bother walking around. These that I'm working with right now are Douglas fir, which are one of the keystone species of the indigenous habitat of where I'm dwelling right now, which is Stilicum land. Land called Spanaway. The Stilicum tribe, the Spanaway band, gave their name to the land where I'm dwelling. The people of lakes, Stilicum means people of the pink flower. And it was the wee pink flowers all that dotted the lowlands in these lakes between the great river valleys that dominated sort of more of the salmon catching tribes of the region. And I learned so much about this from the Stilicum Community Center. It's under construction right now. Plans to open up. I believe I heard June. But check their Instagram and absolutely support them. They're going to do some other cultural things throughout the year to sort of supplement because the center won't be open. So just look for that. Check their Instagram. Check out their website. And if you can give money, buy things from them, do what you can to support the people that support this land that we're on. So I went off on that, but it's a part of the, being kin to the land is understanding the land's kin, if that makes sense. Like I love this word indigenizing. I get it from Robin Wall Kimmerer, an indigenous botanist and author, wrote a great book called Braiding Sweetgrass. And it's the attitude of indigenous peoples. It's what characterizes the people who become indigenous because they indigenize. They act in this way of they have this posture towards the land where they are indigenizing themselves. And a part of that is learning. It's like if you leave one family and you choose your own family. It happens with a lot of queer folks and a lot of folks recovering from church and toxic religion and things like that. You choose your family, you learn about their family, you learn about their kin, and so if I want to be kin to this land that I dwell on, I need to know about those who are kin to it before. And it's a sort of spiritual ancestry. I think land ancestry is an important thing to sort of name and connect to. Is that like I have this genetic ancestry of a Northern European person, this familial ancestry of being driven off our land by colonizers in Ireland, in Scotland, fleeing to Turtle Island, seeking a better way, and getting caught up in the lies and myths of manifest destiny and whiteness and capitalism, and crossing the Oregon Trail, getting to this land here. But I also have an ancestry of loving the land that I'm on. Of like, as I've studied my ancestors, I get the sense that every step of the road they loved where they were. They went to a lot of similar landscapes. I've visited a lot of the places, and there's a certain feel. Oregon and Ireland have a lot in common, climatologically and culturally in a lot of ways. So anyway, let's get on with the saining bundle. This is Douglas fir. I'm gonna sort of move the camera about to show you, and then set you back down, and then I'll demonstrate. So, here we have my setup. So I've got my scissors and my string, and I've got a big pile. So I've broken this pile down a wee bit. Oh, let's get sturdy. And that's better. I've broken down this pile a wee bit. I gathered out with the trees that I've been working with for a while here nearby. I sing to them daily. And these were all gifts. They fell to the ground. And so I gathered from the ground boughs that had come off in storms and whatnot. It's been windy, and broke them down with the snippers. Used gloves, and I may have left my snippers outside. Did a lot of the work outside so it would be more manageable, so I could wrap it up in a tarp and bring it in and just kind of celebrate. So what I do is I kind of look for bundles that look healthy. I don't want wilted stuff. I don't want just measly things. That's not going to be worth much here. And it's gonna do you right if you keep them in about the same length bundles. So this I would say is a longer. So I'm using fir, and one of the characteristics of fir is that they don't have clumps of needles like a pine, but the needles come out all along. And so I'm looking for the most sort of vibrant stems, and then getting down to a manageable, like, I don't want to get much bigger than that at the end because of like burning and the bundle size I'm gonna get. And then I just start to sort of gather and find, and as I go through I'll sort for different sizes. So I got a wee large or long size pile, and then I like to line up the ends here. That's gonna do you right as you progress. So just kind of fine, and you're looking for sort of a fairly even-ish bunch. I sort of save towards the end. I try to get a good central piece and then sort of fill in around it with these like sort of singular branches that came off a different thing. And just sort of, what feels right. That's gonna be, let's do one more on there. Won't do no harm. Right, let's see, let's get that going that way. Kind of get, wee bits, anything that's loose, kind of eyeball it around, heft it, and then I like an overhand grip. I shift here, and then I use my mouth for this. I find it's the easiest. Use butcher's twine. It's food safe to burn, that kind of thing. We're gonna be lighting this shit on fire later. Not safe for work. Might have to edit that. I'll give it a wee lick because it tends to fray. And then wrap it around. I like a really good length. It's going to come in handy later for hanging them, for curing them. And it's going to come in handy right now because I'm going to do what's called a butcher's knot. And if I can hand it over with my fingers, I have a lot to work with. And so I go over once and twice. It's like a standard square knot, but you add the third one, it's gonna give more stability. Once I pull this tight, it's not gonna want to move around as much. I'll keep some pressure on it, but I won't need to worry about it as much as I would if it were just wrapped once. Pull it tight, kind of eyeball, make sure, it's got all the sticks in there, nothing's going wonky, it's not grabbing you down there. You'll get used to sort of where things are, and like as you're moving things around, but it's a wee dance. And so we're going to do once, and then twice again. Pull it tight, let that guy dangle down, and then sort of start to shift the grip. And there's different ways to do this, and so, you know what? Okay, I'm going to do this one because I've got a lot of sticks right down here. Oh, where are you? There you are. A lot of sticks right down here. So, and a lot of wee, like, tendrils up here. So that tells me I'm going to want to sort of double it over. I'm going to make a fat one instead of a long one. It'll still be a large one, but it'll be fat. And so, like, if I just do it over here, it's like, oh, you totally folded that. Like, well, if I just do it over here, you can tell it's like, I totally folded it. So I kind of try to do a twist maneuver, give it a little bit of different texture so it doesn't look quite so unnatural, I guess is the way of saying it. I don't know, it's an aesthetic thing for me, but and you'll find your own way. I find like how your hands move is going to dictate a lot of this. So, and then I try to get it down to about a hand size. Right, and then I'm getting it all wadded up, everything all just sort of wadded up in my hand. And again, think of like butcher stuff if you've ever done a roulade or a stuffed rolled up thing. You're going to sort of scoot under. So we're going to use as many fingers as we can to sort of hold things. And this first one, you're just going to have to find where it wants to bite. And that means you'll get some tension back on it. And you're using, like, every other finger to sort of, like, hold it together. Right. And then I lost a few here, but that's, it's a natural product. You're not going to get it perfect. They're going to be all wonky. And that's part of the fun of it. And so then you come back down and feel it, what you need. Here's where I'm sort of shaping it. I'm trying to like massage it into a mass and get it sort of straight-ish. I am moving this and keeping a lot of pressure. You can kind of see it's cutting into my thumb a wee bit. I'm keeping some pressure on that thumb so that I can push down and then I can lock it in there. Right, and so on one hand, I can lock that end, adjust my grip, do what I need to do. So it's important to find ways that you can sort of share tasks between your hands. That's one of the things I like about making these myself, rather than purchasing them, is that I know the intention that's put into them. I know the trees. I know they were given free, that kind of thing, but it unlocks something to work with your hands. It, as a part of like talking about indigenizing behaviors, I think doing the work of your hands, working with string and sticks and all of that is an indigenizing behavior. Because it's all natural products, I'm having to work with each individual branch and tree to get it, So I got this long thing here. I snip off the other end. It's nice to have scissors handy right by. I snip off the other end, fairly close. But leave that long, and then I use clothespins and hang this up to cure. I give them a couple weeks, usually about. But definitely either cure them over like a box or something. It'd be great. Like stick a line across a cardboard box and sort of cure them in there. You could even stick a fan on it if you wanted to speed it up. But pine like stuff will come off as this dries and gets to where it's like usable for a smoke cleansing ceremony. Stuff will come off, so you'll groom it up later. I usually leave it until then to I'll snip the sticks kind of short, and you can sort of cigar cut an end with good scissors or shears. If I did it now, it'd just be a mess and start coming unraveled. But yeah, give it couple weeks. Hang it over something that you can get pine needles out of easily, and you can do the saining practice. And being as Imbolc's coming up, I'll just sort of give you a wee short example of a saining practice that you might invoke. And Brigid is known for being the goddess and or saint of liminal spaces, especially doorways, thresholds, that kind of thing. And so I I love using these for like threshold cleansing. Going back and forth across this cleansing. Love using music. Either play some, sing some, whatever feels good to you. But music, I would say, of like transition, music of movement. Brigid is also known as sort of the goddess of the turning faces. That she wears three faces: crone, mother, and maiden, in many tellings. And so you could invoke the threeness of that, the uh, movement of energy from one path to another, from life to death to rebirth, or and just wishing all the energy, the spirits, the whatever it might be, have that flow cleared. Because that's sort of the main goal of smoke cleansing, is to help energy flow. Secondary benefits, I love using things like spruce, if you want, which actually does have antimicrobial properties within it. That's one of the reasons you feel so grand if you forest bathe. But get some spruce and do same process. I might use gloves for that, especially like blue spruce, because it can get a wee bit more pokey. I have calluses and whatnot, but if your hands are too more sensitive than mine, go ahead and use gloves. It might be less tactile. So one of the reasons why I like using my hands is that maneuver. I was able to sort of walk the string without losing sort of the cohesion of the bundle. But definitely use gloves. Be safe. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Inspect. So actually, there's a great. I don't know if this will show up on camera. I'll see if I can get it there. You see that wee white bit there? Boop, boop, boop. What? No, is it gonna catch it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, that white bit that I'm sort of exposing. That is a fungus. And or an insect. Like uh pouch, nest, egg sac, something like that. So do give a good visual inspection. That's part of like as you go through and like are finding the things. Toss out all the stuff. A lot of the gnarlier stuff I already tossed out. I have a wee satchel. I went out on my trip. It's like a wood gathering pouch. I'll show you on the next video. But go and there's a lot that gets sort of whittled away to sticks, and so but always see, yeah, here's another one here. Yeah, you can kind of see that there. So do give it a visual inspection. If you can tell any wee critters that joined you in. I do like to leave my bag out overnight, outside, and then do the first process outside. So this has all been inspected once before coming in. You know, and I'm still finding stuff, but that's another part of the process. I think to layer in is the neurobiology of humans, is how we've existed in this universe for a long time, is also how the indigenous folk learned to be in balance. And there's something so soothing to me about doing this process of whittling a pile of like what used to be essentially the garbage of the forest and going through, paying attention. Oh, there's my shears. That could have been dangerous. These are the shears I use. You know, I like, you know, they're old metal ones I found. But they've got this wee like pivot. I really like that they're all metal. And you can get to everything. You can file this down. I need to clean it up a bit more, but I'm not doing much more than that, right? So this is where I go out and beggar sticks or whatever I might snip here or there. Also, I'll talk about the harvest for the Brigid's Cross in the next video, but I did do a an ethical harvest of some Irish broom or Scotch broom, which is I'll talk about more in that. So that's the other thing, is like for harvesting for Brigid's crosses is a good size. We'll talk about that later. Let's see what else about this saining practice. I gave you the stuff, gave you the thing, told to look out for that. Some of them might be more aesthetic, so they might also work as a bow or just a scent thing. They're beautiful while they're hanging to just, you know, add their aroma to the air. So that's another way that you could do if you need. I was reading online, someone was asking a question about how do I practice smoke cleansing in an environment like an apartment or a shared home where I'm not allowed to produce smoke in any form. And you know, there are so many great ideas, and one of those I think would be like, go and make yourself a saining bundle. Like, you know, you do the same sort of wrapping process, but instead of doing all the same thing, you know, take different aromas, different, and you know, fresh herbs. You know, maybe go a florist or you know, somebody who's making herbs, like bundles of fresh rosemary and lavender and sage and like all of these beautiful things that you could wrap up fresh from a garden or gathered, you know, ethically from the wild, and scent the air as it dries. And so the plant is interacting with your atmosphere. It's a more subtle way than smoke, but I think it's a really beautiful way to get around that limitation as well and still be indigenizing. I guess one last thing I'll say is that I really love the way that Tyson Young Kaporta interprets that sense of indigenizing behavior in his book Sand Talk, where he talks about sort of indigenous cuisine. And, you know, he's saying it's not indigenous cuisine, and for him, this is Aboriginal to the continent called Australia. He was like, it's not indigenous cuisine because you have fucking kangaroo in a 5-star restaurant in Sydney out of season. It's more indigenous when you have the spam from, you know, the local market with whatever's growing fresh out here, like using what is available in season and presently, and using it in community and for each other. And I think about that often, as I try, you know, as a druid, we're really trying to reimagine what this is, because our culture was one of the initial test points for colonization, shall we say. If you look at the history, I've been listening to Dan Carlin's Celtic Holocaust podcast, which is, I have to take it in doses because I got frustrated, pretty furious with Julius Caesar, uh, and the way that colonizers have always been doing the same thing of taking language and culture and the indigenizing behaviors away from us. So I am indebted to folks like Robin Wall Kimmerer and Tyson Young Caporta for helping me understand, uh, from living cultures, what that behavior looks like, so that I can begin to reimagine into my own culture what that behavior looks like, if that makes sense. So that's a long-winded way, but I'm a bard, so that's how I do. Um, of saying, just like, find the relationship with your land and your trees. Like, I can't tell you go do this exact Douglas fir, but it's like, where are the things and the plants that are wanting to work with you, that want to be a part of your cleansing, a part of your ritual. I think that is more important. And back to the appropriation thing, why it's so harmful, because it's like, we're not understanding the relationship between people and land when we go and use somebody else's sacred thing. Um, but when we use what we make sacred to us, that's different. So, like, native folks that I've talked to and read their opinions online, they are not a monolith. But of their opinions, I have heard that, like, if you grow your fucking white sage from scratch, if you're in a relationship with this plant, yeah, fucking, like, rock on, bro. That's the fucking point. Be in relationship with the plant and the land. And when you're not, when you're only in this monetary relationship with, who are they ethical? Like, if you need to buy it from a native source. Next step, check with your shop and make sure their source is ethical. But you know, look for a shop that is stocking in juniper. I love the Crystal Guide in Portland, Oregon. I stumbled in there, and I have a few my saining bundles there if you're interested in the purchase of them. They are ethically sourced and all of that, sung over at I believe it was a new moon. But I was just so impressed, because they did have not just white sage. They had, I believe juniper was one that I saw. I think I saw a spruce, and that they stock and trade in, like, different ways of engaging with the smoke cleansing practice. And I think that's the important part, is that we find and reimagine and recreate our culture in a way that is, appreciates the wisdom of the living culture that has been modeled to us by Native American folks. And I keep using that term, living culture. It was given to me by Cheyenne, the young storyteller of the Silicon tribe, on one of my visits, and just it's been medicine to me. Because our culture's alive. They didn't kill it. They tried, but they didn't. And every wee step we take to gather sticks from the woods and turn them into something sacred that no king or empire or colonizer can ever take. That's indigenizing behavior. And if that's what you get from this, I am forever grateful. So, as I said, I promised I'm going to do an upcoming video on making Brigid's crosses. First, I got to clear out the mess. I'll show you just right quick. Whoopity doop. This is the Irish broom. I still have more processing to do on it. It's a wee bit more fiddly. And the fur just takes up a lot of space as it is, like, so I want to whittle down this pile first, and then I'll sort of maybe take a stab at that. I don't know if we'll get to it tonight. But thanks for watching, and thanks for being you. This is Seamus O'Quill, Wandering Bard.